The main difference between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 is, first of all, the new engine that we've implemented for new visual expressions. One of the things is we're trying to really play with use of light, I guess, and the contrast between lightness and darkness. And we're planning to implement features such as using torch to light areas. The torch might be able to use for other strategies as well, but use of light is one thing we're trying to capitalize on. The second is the player motions. We've implemented full mocap this time for the character motions, and we've added a lot more variety in terms of the motions for a better feel when you control your character. We're hoping that this will help players immerse themselves deeper into the role of the character, feel as if they are actually the ones fighting through the struggles in the game. Some of the things that will remain the same is obviously the main concepts, which is the sense of accomplishment, the sense of achievement when you're able to overcome the high difficulties in the game. What we want players to do is try and sort of clench the fist and go, yeah, once they're able to overcome the hurdles. And we want to provide that big sense of achievement. And for us to do that, obviously the hurdles and the barriers are going to be that much more challenging. Second is the loose connection that you have with other players in the world. For Dark Souls 1, I think core network concept was not being able to directly interact all the time with other players, but feeling the loneliness and the sorrowness in the world, but also understanding that there are other people in the world that sort of feel the same sort of challenges. And so those two concepts will remain in Dark Souls 2 as well. For Dark Souls 2, as it was in Dark Souls 1, I think the sense of exploration is a big part of Dark Souls 2. I think where you want to, obviously implement the seamlessly connected areas for players to travel and explore on their own choices. I think that's a big part of the game as well.
But you have the linear storyline, right?
There is a storyline, but the way we tell the story in Dark Souls is very indirect. We want the players to be able to speak with NPCs, read item descriptions, etc., and to sort of try and understand and build his or her own story in the game. One of the things we want to strengthen a little bit with Dark Souls 2 is the sense of role-playing in the world. We want players to be able to immerse themselves deeper into the world, sort of take on their role depending on how they want to play the game, depending on their play styles, and hopefully explore through the game a little bit more freely so that they can create sort of their own stories. The balance of the game, I'm not, being the publishing producer, I'm not really able to speak directly in terms of how we plan to balance, but obviously we hear feedback from the fans, and we are right in the process of balancing the game and tuning the game as we go. The dev team is constantly working hard to do a lot of trial and error. They'll try one thing and they'll revisit it and fix it again to make sure that the game is fully balanced when the game is going to be released. A little bit of both. I think we want the network testing to help us develop the game and make it more complete. One of the things is obviously the server stress test so that the network function properly, as well as the balancing, and we'll hopefully get a better understanding of how players actually do play the game. Yeah, the way the network function will work will be fairly similar to what it was in Dark Souls 1. I don't think we're going to implement any features to allow players to communicate directly with anybody else. The summoning and the invasions will be there, obviously, but we're trying to revisit it and enhance it a little bit. Again, the loose connection is something very important for Dark Souls, and so I think the network functionality, we'll be able to give you more information as we go on, but right now I can tell you that there's a lot of things that we're trying to revisit, but also we want to maintain the core essence of what Dark Souls is, especially around the network functionality. So I think a big part about Dark Souls is the loneliness, the sorrowness, and feeling alone, being in despair, always looking for that faint bit of light, I guess, or the faint bit of hope that will keep you going forward.
So you still can?
No, I don't think so. I think, again, the loose connection. So I don't think the dev team is going to be encouraging any chatting directly. It'll be up to the players if they want to use other sources, but it won't be available in the game. The players hopefully will find that out for themselves. I guess we're obviously not going to make the game easier. It'll be just as challenging and just as difficult. But again, we're still tuning the game, and hopefully the players will be able to play it and understand whether it is harder or whether it is, it'll be up to the players to find out. I don't want to spoil the game at all. Right now. I think, obviously I don't want to spoil the game. In terms of the footage that you've seen and what we showed at E3, you can tell that the graphics are improved. But in terms of any surprises, I'm not going to spoil anything right now. The Covenant system, it's going to be an important part of Dark Souls 2. I'm not, the director directly, so I'm not ready to say we're going to change it. But it's going to be something big, and we plan to enhance it. There will be similar covenants that was in Dark Souls 1. We may see new covenants in Dark Souls 2 as well. I think it'll be a big part, and I think players can look forward to the covenant system as well. We want players to role play a little bit more for the game, so the covenants will be a key. My name is Miyazoe. I'm the publishing producer from Namco Bandai and Dark Souls 2. A message is don't give up. I've played the game a lot, I die a lot, but it's a lot of fun, so don't give up, keep playing.